Thank you all for coming today. 3 years ago, I met the love of my life, Shazil Faghri. The moment I saw him walking towards me holding a bunch of flowers, I said, oh damn. I knew it was something special. We married 9 months later, and we've had 3 perfect years. 1 year ago, our precious baby girl Zoya was born, and he loved us more than anything. The day she was born, he looked at her and said to me that she would always be with one of us. So while I worked every day, he decided to stay home with her. He kept her. And every day that she napped on his chest. He started driving and working late nights for Lyft because his goal was to provide for her. His goal was to provide for us. But he wanted her to be with us. He wanted to have her home with him during the day, and he wanted us to have our family time at night. So he was working late nights. And on June 1st at 1 a.m., he was senselessly shot and killed in downtown Atlanta. We are broken. He loved Zoya, he loved me, and he loved our life. He was so happy. He spent the day before he died making phone calls to help a family in need. He was so generous, and he loved. We know he's now with Christ, but we are broken. This is not right, and it's so wrong. Zoya will not remember him, except for the pictures we can share and the stories. I know that I had more love and happiness in 3 years than many people have in a lifetime, and I'm so thankful for that. I want to thank my friends and my family for being here, my law enforcement family who's been supporting me since I woke up in the morning, woke up in the middle of the night and realized he had not come home. I thank the work of APD, Detective Shepard, GBI, and FBI. I know they're working tirelessly to find the person who shot my husband. Fulton County District Attorney's Office, and of course, Attorney General Sam Owens in the Attorney General's Office for their strong friendship and support during this time. I'm also so grateful for the outpouring of support from the community. I think it really is an honor to the amazing man he was. I felt like it took me a lifetime to find him, and I will always be grateful for those 3 years. Your support is just an honor to who he was and what he was trying to do, caring for us, loving us, and supporting us. And to my brother Ryan now.
I'm Ryan Wright. I want to say on behalf of the family that we, of course, are absolutely devastated. Sometimes the worst things happen to the very best of people. My sister has given her life to helping the most hurt and the most vulnerable. Her husband was just like her. They cared deeply for those who needed help. He was kind. He was generous. He was amazing. He gave up his career to care for his daughter, and he's been the primary caregiver since she was born a year ago. He made great sacrifices for her, and I know that he would want her to be cared for. So on behalf of the family, on behalf of Shaw, we just ask for any support that you can provide for Zoya, just to help to provide for her care, her ongoing care and support. We would be very grateful, and just ask that y'all would consider doing that. Take questions. No. My sister will answer some questions.
Blog just on the Memorial Day weekend about how you felt you did not value the dream. Do those words bring back to you stuff?
They ring so true. I wrote that hours before he was shot and killed. I see it so much in my work with human trafficking. I just see it in the world. And just to have it come so back, it's what it was. People have lost the value of human life, that they would be willing to take it for nothing. Actually, thank you for reading that and bringing that.
Did your husband ever express concern about working late at night?
He didn't. He tried to always be very careful. He never knew where somebody might get dropped off, need to be dropped off, but he never picked people up in certain areas. He tried to be really careful about that. But because he was careful, he felt secure, I guess.
How did you feel about it?
I feel like God has been preparing me for this day. And so I guess it's looking back on it. I was always afraid something like this would happen.
Can you tell us a little bit more about him as a person and how y'all met?
We met through a mutual friend. The friend said we thought he was a wonderful guy and I should talk to him. I didn't think there was any chance that would go anywhere. But I've always been a traveler, and he lived abroad. I wanted to meet. I flew there, I thought, just for a vacation. Like I said, when he went to pick me up in the airport in Istanbul, I knew this was a lot more than I expected. And it's absolutely been the best 3 years. And the month of May was the perfect month. We celebrated Joya's birthday 3 times. We couldn't get her birthday party right, so we had 3. We just celebrated the anniversary of the day we met, which was always our most important anniversary. We had just a wonderful, ideal time.
So you flew to Istanbul to specifically to meet him without ever having met him before?
Yes.
Spoken to him?
I'd lived abroad a lot. We had spoken for about 5 or 6 months. Istanbul had been the top of my list of places, my bucket list of places to visit. And I had tried to plan several trips there, so when I found out, so when I met someone who was living there, I didn't mind having a travel buddy to tour around with. But that's not what happened.
What type of work was he doing at the time? You said he was giving up his career.
He had been in real estate development, buying and selling properties.
So what were the dreams? Did he want more children?
Yeah. We talk all the time about getting ready to have another child, and he also really wanted to adopt as well. That was very key on his heart. I have adopted siblings. My siblings have adopted children. He loved children, and talked all the time about when we could start and we could adopt a child.
So we would never think of anything to have in the car to protect himself? Or
I don't know his thoughts on that.
Would he avoid certain areas?
He did avoid certain areas. There definitely were areas of town he would always turn off the app so that he would not get any rides. He knew them very well. He would go to what he felt were safer areas.
How about the area where he was found?
That's not somewhere he had picked up someone. But sometimes when you pick up people in a safe area where they live or where they get dropped off with somewhere else, and he was leaving that area. We had last talked at midnight, and he was going to try to get a few more fares. Obviously, his goal was to start his business back again so that I could be home with her. And so he had that constant motivation to skip a little more sleep and see how he could move our dreams forward.
What time do you usually go in each night?
It depended on our schedule, but often between 8 and 9. We thought he'd originally start earlier, but we were really enjoying our dinner and family and play Zoya time, so it always went later and later until she started getting tired and he'd finally leave and start working.
so was he doing like 9 to 3? Or
I think he'd usually get home around 2.
2?
Just
Have anything to say in that last phone call?
our last phone call was him actually calling me to see if we could lend a family in need some money so that we could help them get a water heater. He'd been working on that all day. When he worked between shifts, he'd stop between rides and shift, and he'd always, tell me how he's doing, how the ride was. My phone had gotten low on batteries, and he had sent me a text that said, "I miss you and Zoya." Probably hadn't texted back for about an hour. We texted a few more times that night. We were laughing at him having a ride that was only worth $3. I sent him a smile and I fell asleep. And I could have sworn he came home. And when I woke up at 4 a.m. and he wasn't there, I was so confused because I really remembered him coming home and giving me a kiss, and there were just pillows on his side of the bed. So I started texting, calling him, and looking for him. Then eventually called and woke up some of the sergeants and detectives that are my friend through my career, and they have been there for me and ended up finding out what had happened and letting me know. They were the first ones here before any of my other family or friends could arrive, really just as friends to make sure they sat with me as I learned what was happening and started to process what had happened.
Do you know, can you say, was he going to pick someone up? Did he have someone with him?
I don't know all those details, and others are just part of the law enforcement's investigation.
Zoe grows up and she's old enough to understand. What will you tell her about
That her daddy loved her more than anything, that he smiled at her, laughed at her, held her, that she never had to take a nap alone. We were crazy about taking pictures. He would send them to me all day when I worked, and I would send him pictures all night while he worked, and we have those to share.
Did he text you the night he was killed saying he
Yes.
About how, what was the timeline?
Probably around 9 or 10. Besides texts about rides, numbers. Zoya's finally asleep. That was our last real text. That was our last words. And
Sorry.
thank you guys. Thanks.